Akuapem North Constituency elected polling station executives and coordinators, and your media friends are Moshiam Waha. Yes, Lamu, Yadamasi said when you're home, Matrasia, 1 o'clock on your frame. I'm watching Abu this time. Any Munti and any Abu this time. You know, I will address the press in English language, and we are Makani Chikakra na Yediaviso. Thank you very much for your presence. Now, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We bring you warm greetings from the mountains, but come to you with a very sad heart. We are very sad. And not just because of humiliation we are suffering, or because of embarrassment our constituency is going through, but sad because our pain and our embarrassment, our shame is brought upon us by our own Member of Parliament, Honorable Dokua. The person to represent our interests is now actively working against our interests, and is doing so with incitement. The pain, the shame, and the agony with this experience is incomparable and monumental. It has never happened ever in the history of this constituency since 1992. Today, for the first part in the history of MPP in Ghana, out of the 5 constituencies which are yet to hold their constituency elections, Akuapem North is one of them. That has never happened to us before. It is counted as one of the constituencies yet to conduct our elections. Shamefully, the reason for delay is because our MP or a Member of Parliament has so far been able to have a way and forcibly eliminate and take out names of people who have been elected and to replace with her favorites. All manner of machinations have gone on. Our pain and sadness stem from the fact that since this whole process of internal MPP election started, we have to endure torture, abuse, and maltreatment at the hands of the Member of Parliament and the constituency executive led by Frank Appiah, who now wants to be a second regional chairman. Can you imagine small constituency of Akuapem North? You couldn't manage it. You have left it in turmoil. You want a position at the regional office. Also, organizer of the constituency, Appiah, the woman organizer, Awoya, these people have conspired to visit all this pain on us. And we will take our time to give you a chronology of accounts of where we have come from and how much we have had to endure. So, take a listen. It started from sales of forms. The General Secretary of MPP, Mr. John Boyd, opened nomination for the polling station elections and outlined the processes for acquiring forms and the cost therein, as well as the requirement for qualified applicants. The polling station election was to be run between February 19, 2002 and March 5, 2002. Subsequent to the General Secretary announcement, the Vice President announced that he has purchased forms for all incumbent or existing polling station executives. So we in the Akuapem North, we have 725 polling stations. So it means that the existing one, none of them will buy a form. But what happened? The understanding from this was that all of us who were already polling station executives will receive a nomination form free of charge, already paid for by the Vice President. Our constant visit to the party office at Akuapem to pick our forms as incumbents and for new entrants to also purchase their forms were without success, multiple visits. The administrator at the party office kept telling us the forms are yet to be brought to the party office. So where are the forms? Some of us pitched camp there for 3 days hoping to have sight of the delivery of the forms so that we can have access to it, but to no avail. The evening before the deadline day for the submission of the forms, we picked intelligence that the constituency organizer, women organizer, and the youth organizer were visiting and knocking on doors of some individuals and giving the application form to them to fill on the pipes, the blind side of many of qualified people who want to be polling station executives. This got us alarmed and quickly started checking around. This intelligence turned out to be true, which they clearly made us realize that there was a deliberate strategy to exclude the general party people from having access to apply. At about 10 p.m. the same night, which was the day before the deadline of submission, we had about 350 people seated at the party office. A collective decision was taken at that time to get applications from the regional office as indicated in the guidelines, that if you don't get it from the constituency, you can go to the regional office and pick it up. And thanks to the benevolence of the regional chairman, Chairman PC, some 350 forms were given. About 11 a.m. the next day, the forms arrived and we quickly moved in to complete our forms. At about 4 p.m., when we were ready to submit our forms, the constituency chairman told us our forms were fake. Can you imagine? In effect, any form not signed by the member of parliament would be accepted. We took a phone call from the regional chairman before they agreed to admit the forms and asked we submit at the party office. We had to rush and run around the whole day putting our documentations and paperwork together for something that the party originally gave us about 5 days to do. We did it just within some few hours. We went hungry, tired and worn out, but still did not complain. Now vetting. First day of scheduled vetting was a continuation of our ordeal and our struggle. First of all, Honorable Dokua, our MP, to our shock, selected those of us who applied using the forms procured from the regional office for vetting and indicated that all the 725 applicants who applied using her signed forms, which she handed to them directly, that is to her favorite, will not go to any vetting. And you were there. Did you see any of her favorite people coming for the vetting for a police station? None of them. None of them. Not even one. After vetting, she insisted that the decision of other members of the committee, she insisted against the decision of other members of the committee that some 188 applicants, take good care of the figures I'm going to mention. There are a lot of figures that are going to come up. 188 applicants should be disqualified on the basis of having supported an independent candidate in 2020 election. This whole allegation was very convenient one for her to be able to weed out everyone that she deems is not favorable to her, so that you can have her favorite into the album. That one too, we went past that. Some of us found this bizarre because we were her agents and the day of election and signed her pink sheet at the polling station. So for her to come back a year and a half with this falsehood was untenable. We decided to appeal to the regional executive committee to look into this. Can you imagine someone who has signed your pink sheet at the polling station? Dokua was there, our MP was there saying you have supported an independent candidate, so you should be disqualified. Can you imagine? The constituency election committee chairperson at that time, obviously being the honorable person she was, couldn't be part of this illegality and attempt by the MP, and so decided to resign. For your records, we have had about 3 different chairpersons for just our constituency. 3 different chairpersons. The first one was a woman just resigned within few days. I move on. Regional chairman called for meeting between us and the member of parliament at Alisa Hotel in Accra. At this meeting, regional chairman's decision was that out of the 188 figure, 94 of them should be vetted again. That was the conclusion that was arrived at that meeting. At this vetting, it came out clearly that the whole approach was a deliberate twist to get everyone out. For instance, at the vetting, she accused one Theophilus Nanapuku, Dr. Dre of Akuapem, secretary of PTC demonstration primary polling station, of having supported an independent candidate. That was an obvious untruth. It was at the vetting that Nanapuku proved to her that indeed he Nanapuku was the MP's agent on the day at that particular polling station, and he signed the pink sheet of that particular polling station of which the MP was declared the winner. And the pink sheet was available for her verification. Unsurprisingly, she didn't even know him. He didn't even know Nanapuku. Yes, he was challenging her because of maybe falsehood that she had been informed about them. But for this confidence from the gentleman, she would have falsely accused him and knocked him out of the contest. Eventually, 34 were disqualified by a unanimous decision of the committee. There was evidence against them, so let's go by that. So from 188 to 34, I move on. The next day, which was supposed to be the brief meeting for certain timeline for the polling station elections across the 32 electoral areas, Honorable Dokua came into the meeting with another twist. This time, she wants another set of 380 disqualified. So we have moved from 188, now we have gone up. 388 to be disqualified. Same excuse, they supported independent candidate. Very convenient argument for her. Most who are incumbent executive, the allegation is that they supported an independent candidate in the just ended 2020 elections. Another convenient excuse. Now, think about it. Initially, she wanted 188 out. Now, she has ballooned the number to what? 388. And how does she come by these numbers? Nobody knows. These are not just counters. These are human beings who have spent their lives and time shepherding and building this party in their various polling stations over the years, before even our dear MP joined our constituency in 2015. We decided to submit another appeal to the National Grievances Committee as prescribed by the party's constitution, and we were subsequently invited to a meeting in Accra. Again, at the meeting was the Honorable Dokua, the regional chairman, the general secretary of the party, the director of elections, and other party leaders. At that level, our MP, Honorable Dokua, raised her issues, and we did the same. She raised the following issues. One, unknown polling stations. That is some of the forms that were filled by some of you. You did not, or indicated the polling station that is unknown in the constituency. That some of you are NDC members. That some of your forms are fake. Members who supported independent candidates. Youth organizer above 40 years, absent from vetting. Good. The National Grievances Committee addressed these issues as follows. And a copy of this directive by the National ADR, National Grievances Committee, is attached. I can give it to the press after my address. The such prospective aspirants should be vetted and given the opportunity to correct their mistakes. That is the unknown polling stations. NDC members. These prospective aspirants should be vetted to ascertain the authenticity of the allegations against them. Those who declared in the process should be allowed to contest. On fake forms, it was resolved that once they are MPP members, they should be allowed to participate in the process since forms were not readily available to them. We didn't give us forms. We tried getting our form. Now we are claiming that they were fake. Members who supported independent candidates. Here, the committee resolved that where there's undeniable evidence that such a prospective candidate has openly supported the independent candidate. This is the directive from the National ADR or the National Grievances Committee. If there's evidence that you support an independent candidate, that one should be disqualified. In cases where time is no clear-cut evidence to check back the member openly supported independent candidates, such applicant must be allowed to contest. So if there's no evidence against you, pictorial or video evidence against you for having supported an independent candidate, then you should be allowed to read and show it to the camera. Right. Yeah, so, right, this is the resolution signed by the ADR. Camera, you can capture it. Yes, so that's the summary I have picked up in my address. Youth organizers above 40 years. You know, by our definition, if you are 40 and above, you are not a youth. But within our own ranks, we have decided how we go by that. So this scenario was not discussed. The resolution on the issue was that in areas where the age of the youth organizer is not above 60 years, that aspirant should be cleared to contest. However, the committee should exercise discretion on the matter. Where it will be a problem, the candidate must be changed. For instance, we have 5 people. Maybe the youth organizer mistakenly is about 45 years. So maybe there's another candidate in there who is 30 years. So we just reshuffle the positions, then he becomes what the youth organizer, and the person above 40 years goes into another position. That is allowed. Missing application forms. This scenario was not discussed. However, where applicant's nomination form is missing, it is directed that a new form be issued and out to him or her after proper vetting, or she may be allowed to contest. So some forms, you know, deliberately, you submit it and they will tell you it is missing. That's why we told you to make photocopies of all your forms. That when they tell you that it's missing, you show your photocopy. Good. This letter from the National Grievance Committee, signed by the Director of Elections, Ura Evans Nimako, was dated March 10, 2022. Easily, we would have thought that was fair and just resolution, and we thought that was going to be the end of our woes and our troubles. But no, our troubles were just about to start. We came back into the constituency, and as expected, none of her 775 applicants went through the vetting process. But we did not complain. We went. Fast forward, all of us went through the vetting, and eventually about 37 were disqualified, and the rest of us cleared to contest. So out of the 380 numbers, now they managed to get evidence against 37 of you, so you were disqualified. It is important to note that the vetting committee included the member of parliament herself, her political aide, who is now acting as the elections and research officer in the constituency, Ura Frankedu, aka Obo, the constituency organizer, Emmanuel Appienti, the constituency women organizer, who was not even supposed to be part of the committee, but she was allowed into the committee and was given a role to play, and chairman of the Council of Elders and the chairman of what? Patrons. 10 p.m. on the night of 16th March 2022, a notice of polls with the names of qualified applicants was pasted at the party office in Akuapem, and the polling station election scheduled for the next morning at 8 a.m. So I remember many of you rushed to look at the pasted list, whether your name is in there or your name is on the cross line. Good. 37 applicants were disqualified, and the rest of us cleared to and published a committee to contest. Now, elections. Day one of the elections. Day one of the election went through without any drama. Everything was cool. It was on the day two of the election at the Akuapem maternity station, polling station. The constituency chairman was present. The constituency women organizer was present. The regional police commander was also present with his team, having been called by some people that there's confusion in our constituency. So he came. It was after the particular police station election where the former constituency youth organizer, who is also the political aide to Honorable Dokua, told the constituency chairman in the open that, hey, chairman, if you don't stop this election, we are not going to win any of the polling stations. We all heard it, we were all there. Unsurprisingly, he quickly made a voice note and shared on all constituency water platforms, asking all their people to pull out of the election and meet him at the Akuapem in Peniasi. The baffling question is, how did he know who their person was and who wasn't in the polling station election, which is still underway? We have attached a copy of the voice note for your listening pleasure, so media, we can make it available to you. It looks like most of their so-called people didn't get the voice memo, so we went to some polling station and they were there. This was the day the former youth organizer went on rampage and insulted the entire government and the party without barriers, including the president, the vice president, and the chairman of the party. We have attached a copy of that video too for your viewing pleasure. He has since been suspended by the regional executive committee for his misconduct. Court suits and petitions. After the final day of the polling station elections around 8 p.m., then we saw a notice of injunction filed by one of the spokespersons of our MP, Richmond Kwesi Amuapon, aka Brother. He has filed a suit restraining the continuation of the polling station elections. Can you imagine? Thankfully, the notice came after the process has ended. 2 days after the election, when it was realized that the court move by her boy was belated, Honorable Dokua then wrote a petition, this time signed by herself, to the Director of Elections and Research at the party headquarters, copying the president, the chief of staff, majority leader, and several other party leaders. What was her problem? What was her claim? This petition was rightly so referred to the Alternative Dispute Resolution Committee, chaired by the respected Honorable Cecilia Dapa, the Minister of State, Water Resources. As we gathered, the first day of the hearing, the Member of Parliament requested that she withdraws the written petition and makes a verbal petition. Of course, he had to do that because the allegations of infractions made in a petition were untrue and could not be substantiated or could not be supported by any shred of evidence. She submitted a completely different verbal petition at the ADR. That was interesting. If you listen to the verbal petition and you read the written petition, complete variation. Different from her initial written petition, was given the album to go through. So she was given the album to go through and audit it and come out with particular polling station he had issue with specific position. So please, this is the album that we have compiled so far. So go through which polling station do you have an issue with, list it and tell us what issue and why that particular issue. She came back to the committee after some days with a list of about 50 petitions and indicated that what the issues are with these petitions, The ADR committee then referred these issues back to the Constituency Election Committee, of which he is a member, to come and look into the issues raised by the MP and also give their remarks or comments. The committee got back, looked at the issues and gave their comments with evidence, pictorial, documentary and video to each of the issues raised by Honorable Dokua. If you recall, many of the polling stations we recorded, we took pictures, declaration of results. So if you come and challenge me, I have evidence for you. ADR, after looking at the feedback from the committee and their evidence therein, realized there was no basis, so dismissed the MP's claim totally, outrightly. One would have thought that would be the end, but no, we still soldier on. The member of parliament wasn't satisfied. He had to come in with one excuse or the other. Another list of an important figures that she claimed that they should be included in the register. Finally, ADR decided that some 12 polling stations, which the woman organizer was responsible for supervising, should be rerun. The lower hill, you remember. While waiting for the official communication of ADR decision, the member of parliament then generated another list of 63. They are here, 63. Some interesting names and interesting comments why they should be included in the register. I'll read some of them to you soon. A copy of the list will be made available to you to read. Those ridiculous reasons, mostly false and fabricated. Anyway, that was only to mislead decision makers to condone illegalities. For example, if you look at the list, if you have a copy, number 32, yes, Emilia Ewuku. Mark this name, it will come back. Polling station, Latte Akadi, number 1. Position, women organizer. Claims, candidate claim is being made by MPU. Listen, candidate is an influential political actor for the party. She is effective at organizing events for the party. Her contender was openly campaigning against the party during the 2020 elections. Basically, what our dear MP is asking for is that the person who has legitimately gone through all the processes, past vetting, and his name published by the committee of which is a member, should be removed and a favorite should be inserted. The reason simply because Emilia is an influential political actor in the area. Somebody whose name has been published that you qualify to contest, and the person has actually gone through the process and he has won or declared a winner, that person should be removed. And the supposed political influencer should be included, Emilia Uku. Very funny. Ironically, the influential political actor could not run an election in the area when, according to the MP, she wields so much influence. As a matter of fact, Emilia did not even run for the election in the area, let alone win or lose. There's a video on that, like a card number 1. Whole video of the whole process. Emilia was nowhere near the polling station. She did not even contest. So how can you say he is so influential? If you are influential, you must win. Hands down. Where was Emilia when the election was being conducted? Please take note of this particular name in the MP's list. It will come up again, as I said. Now go to number 35. Number 35. George. Sure. You can capture it, yes. Please show it to them. Number 35. George Ofori Richardson. Polling station is Latte Anglican Primary. Position is what? Chairman. Claims being made by the MP. Candidate was instrumental during the 2020 election campaign in the Akonidi Shrine. Hey! Can you imagine? He is also a liaison for the party to the fetish priest at the shrine. This actually broke the camel's back. So we had a liaison officer who was liaising with fetish priests. We never knew. You were the campaign people. Did you see anything like that? Our dear MP is asking that a party man who has genuinely run and won election should be removed and replaced by Afro, simply on the basis that Afro is a liaison officer with Akunede Shrine. Funny enough, this particular polling station is at Anglican Church and is nowhere near the Akunede Shrine. Indeed, the closest polling station to the shrine is Latte Plaza polling station, and Latte Methodist Primary School polling station. So the supposed person who's supposed to be so close to the Akunede Shrine, that polling station is nowhere near, if you know Latte very well, the Anglican School and the Akunede Shrine. A big difference. There are 60 of such ridiculous claims from the list of the 63 generated by the MP in her bedroom and inserted. He demands that this name must be in the register. And you won election, you should be taken out. Who applied, went through the vetting, and their names published by the vetting committee, ran for election and won, be removed. Of course, this request and list, which goes directly contrary to the spirit of democracy and against the MPP constitution, was thrown out once again. The National Council subsequently directed that the 12 polling stations, as indicated earlier, be rerun. In fact, the ADR has suggested that it should be rerun. And the National Council, if you know the structure of our MPP, apart from National Conference, the National Council, the higher decision-making body, the president, the vice president, the chief of staff, all former general secretaries, all former chairmen, all regional executives, they are part. So there are about 100 members. So you can imagine the weight of this committee. They said that everything is okay, except the 12 polling stations that were supposed to rerun Lower Hills. And we did that. You were all there. You were all witnesses. Post-National Council decision, the rerun of the 12 polling stations were done on 18th May 2022 without any incident. You follow the process. Electoral area coordinators elections. On the morning of Sunday, 22nd May 2022, which was the scheduled day for the electoral area coordinators elections, pre-dispatch meeting of the committee, the member of parliament picked a pen and started circling names she wants out of the album. By this time, the album is ready. Those who won at the 12 polling station have been added, so we're ready to go for the polling station, for the coordinators election. At that point, he took pen, began circling some names. Still, she is not satisfied. Same names she had raised at the ADR and the committee had investigated and thrown out. Interestingly, these names, they are all in this. It would have been thrown out by the National Council and the ADR. Eventually, she succeeded in preventing 14 of our colleagues who had legitimately contested and won election at the polling station. We decided not to contest this because we wanted the process to go on, because we realized that she was just trying to delay the whole process. So we said, okay, our brothers, my brother is one of them. The contested election, he won at Impeniancy, but he was circled as, what is the reason? They wouldn't give us any reason. So we moved on. We decided not to contest the protest at this because we wanted the process to go on. At this point, it was quite clear that at the end of the game, MP was just trying to frustrate the process, not allow it to go on. The numbers were not significant enough to affect the outcome, so we decided to grant her the pleasure of protest. So the 14 were told not to contest. This compromise by some of our colleagues paved way for a successful electoral area coordinator selection without any incident. So we thought all is set. Police station elections over. Coordinator elections over. What is next? Constituency elections. So we have scheduled a date. Constituency election was subsequently scheduled for Wednesday, 25th May 2022. But alas, we have been sitting in a numerous of meetings deep in the night listening to candidates' campaign. Some of us were out of the constituency for private businesses. Others were also at their workplaces outside the constituency. Had all to come to the constituency to participate in elections. You know, many of you are not residents in the constituency because of work purposes. You have to travel. You have to call you. Please come. We are going to conduct the election. So you came. Meetings back to back, listening to the campaigns of all day on 24th May 2022, only to see a copy of a court writ around 8 p.m. on 28th May, the eve of the election, restraining the EC from proceeding with the constituency elections. And guess whose name was on the writ? Emilia Euku. Does this name ring a bell? Emilia Euku. She was the MP's number 32 on that list, that special list that we have here. The person she says should be because candidate is influential political actor for the party. She is effective at organizing events for the party. This time in the court rate, he says she won the election at the polling station. Her name has been removed. What the member of parliament and Emilia didn't know was that there's video evidence of the entire election at this particular polling station. So what she said earlier by the MP that is an influential political event, he didn't say same on the court rate. As a matter of fact, they said Emilia Oku did not contest the election at the polling station, let alone to win or lose. The second applicant on the court rate is Godfred Ampedu, aka Dollar from Akuapem. Anybody from Akuapem knows him. A houseboy of the MP who lives in the MP's house and helps her at the Akuapem. Godfred contested the election at the Akuapem 12 that in the full glare of the public. I was there at that particular police station on that particular day. And he lost the election. He lost miserably. He got 28 votes against the winner, 84. This is a public thing, and it was announced. Everybody was there. The confidence with which these people lied to the courts in their statement, knowing there are incontrovertible facts in both video and picture, is baffling. No wonder Emilia Oku has flatly denied knowledge of any court process and has stated that he has not authorized anyone to do that in her name. Yes, we have her on audio denying knowledge of any court action and surprised her name had been used for this. In fact, the innocent lady has been indoors ever since. Half a dollar, his phone has been seized from him. It doesn't have any, if you call him, you not receive. Because, but if you have gone to court, you have to be talking to the media to explain your position. But his phone is off. Call him now, those who know him. Ladies and gentlemen, conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, and elected police station executives and coordinators of the constituency of Akuapem constituency of Akuapem North. We believe you now understand our frustration and stress and the reason why we are pained and sad at the same time. The question we keep asking ourselves is why? Why should our own member of parliament put us through such ordeal, such pain, and such wickedness? Why should our MP, a member of parliament, Honorable Dokua, met such callousness on her own people, all in the name of political power? We were stunned when we heard her speak on OKFM just last 2 days and spewed out so much lies with calmness. The confidence and the calmness in which he lied on her was baffling. Naturally, we wouldn't have responded and we would have realized from all we have been through that we do not want to engage in any banter. But a recent attempt to lie and spin issues in the public has pushed us to do this level. If you had kept quiet, you wouldn't have come to do this. We still respect her. She's our MP. After punishing us in such harsh manner, the last thing we expected from her is to further pain, and we will advise her to stop peddling the lies or else we put out even more of her callousness. There's more to it. She has succeeded in preventing our constituency from partaking in the impending regional election. That is tomorrow. So our constituency executive will not be part of it. That's the first time it's happening to our constituency. So it is shame on to them all the party leaders, Frank Apia, MP, them all. First time, Akuapem will not be participating. It's very bad. We only appeal to the national party headquarters who have been sued by the houseboy of the MP and use the name of assigns to quickly address the court issue so that we can proceed to also elect leaders of the party in the constituency. We hold nothing against our MP, irrespective of the ordeal she has put us through. We only ask that we make progress in the constituency. God bless the New Patriotic Party. God bless Akuapem North Constituency. God bless Madagascar. Thank you very much.
Because of reaction. It will be key, but key, I need you to be very specific on this.
Now, Mebo Tupe, number 32, Emilia Oku, Akade, number 1, where MP's own petition, I call ADR. The camera to capture and check the name, number 32, Emilia Oku, Latte Akade. Also, Mammy, or your partner, so why a man your summer walata, a man for Nimono, or when you yam the brave. This Ojedi say, for the dinshim about we party no. Na wako contest no we ni vim no fa ni dinshim sa na honorable MP oreka kire yen. Oko number 35. Eye George Richardson. Afro. Ose ono yes, Paja Captain Manwai 35. Afro Richardson. Yes. Ose ono na oye ochiame ma party no. Ewo akoni de shrine. Ono na oye nyankama di bia ma party no. Enti no one for the dinshim we latte Anglican police station. O she ba de bia latte Anglican police station won as we bia police no kwa. Emu ware pa yes. Enti no won say yenim da some of us yenim da say MPP. Ye wo akonfu a wo bra yenim da. Enti ye fa dinshim ye fa akonfu enhyem yenyi no akọ police station election e wo latte akade latte Anglican yenyi nim fim. Metiasia Salis we reflect away signed by Director of Election MPP Headquarters Evans Nimako on all the resolution abano say in some totoa MP by we din film nyina wo mom won fa ye aduma be bia asem wo pe get to police station yen na wo no Canada wo ya ono na wo man say we leader go and supervise when man ye election no and what the committee for by and ma ko ye election no nti anke ye wie anke ba be yen constituency elections if it didn't be yet Owura Ampedu, Godfrey Ampedu, your friend $1 or a half boy, what to do if not to the year. Minimum. Only sister near Bonnie, you know, needing us number 32. What the party of court? And the Juna, Neze, one about 10, Nanujana, and one about 10 to high you ready. When you know, most of my point to one by Rabo to a ban. But the petition a break chairman is a court practice and no, you can't do it. Sagi or no, also as a motion. Also on country BC, on Fanny Dinko court. I want to say what in Azi. Mammy, or what at the Emilia, if this was a demo, I will pay. Now, over $1 they ampenude. Already the new phone can wait. Miami Hoon, and now here. Also, go for the new phone going to $1 me throw. Obi Ako the throw out for me from waiting for a reason. No be ango akoko tanka media ko befro na we explain it na yet already yes wasem ye da wo be say man 40 wasem no ke bi ma na be we do mufun ngaje mufun na fins on person wo frɛ no na wakati me de minimum hwe but immediately you have on record ya record no on ya no waka say oni mo hwe ntino ye party mpena fo chewo je say no ngaboya abesi nei wo mu ayen na court asem no wonyi nye family fi ni nka nya kwan ye constituency de nya constituency leaders Ewaha na Akuapem, you know, you are so big in the eastern region that of Ghana. You need party leaders Emfa as a papa every. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the press, Miniano police station executive and coordinators. You want to Obama number winning and Namati Hai. Your friend, now you are SMTT. I to be. No, the NTS is a main judgment. Wait for it now, our court. Into a party lawyer, Gareth Nimako. When we file a response to the petition now, petitioners on what the coin. Into a JD say, and if you don't know the MZ Corda, I charge Jordan, Wobeka Wasam, now we never wait to Macquam, near to Mahood, constituency election. What's on it? Abanate me to be. Obia Elusuni one vote because one vote cry it me election. Eh, yeah, we. The party for voting and one way, John Boydu, National Chairman, Freddie Blame, Evans Nimako, Director of Election. What's Menka? Yes, Ramo. MPP for our young as polling station executives, coordinators, Akuapem North Constituency. We should friend. What did you shoot? The friend say, Oma Boya Party, no Intimina leaders in this constituency. The friend Kojo SCD day, may electoral area coordinator, or sign broom, Akuapem Town.
So that's it. So the number good,